everyone, in this video we are going to determine the inverse of rational function, and this is the first part. I'm going to show you two methods of determining the inverse of rational function. Let's take this first example right here. Find the inverse of this function f of x is equal to 2 over x plus 1. There are steps that we need to follow in order that we can determine the inverse of any function. The first step is to replace f of x with y. So I'm just going to label this as method 1. So that's the first step. I changed f of x to y. So then we're ready to move on to the second step. The second step is to replace x with y and replace y with x and solve for y. So pretty much like we are going to change the y to x, and that is equal to 2 over, we changed the x to y. So our target here is to have y by itself. In order that we can do that, we are going to multiply both sides by y plus 1 so that we can get rid of the y plus 1 at the bottom. So then I can go ahead and multiply this by y plus 1, and then I will multiply the other side as well by y plus 1. So then our equation would come out y plus 1 times x. So again, that is multiplied to both sides, and that is equal to, we can cross out this y plus 1 and y plus 1. So then we are left with 2 on the right side. So then we can go ahead and we want y by itself, so we can go ahead and divide both sides by x. I'm going to divide this by x. I'm going to divide this by x here. So then we can cross this out. We're left with y plus 1 equals 2 over x. Again, we want y by itself, so then we are going to subtract 1 from both sides, minus 1. So then we are left with y, we can cross this out, y equals 2 over x minus 1. So then we can go ahead and move on to the third step. The third step is to replace y of the equation solved in step 2 with f negative 1 of x. So then I can go ahead and rewrite this into its inverse form. So that would be f negative 1 of x is equal to 2 over x minus 1. And this is the inverse function for this function right here. Now, the other method that we can use, I'm going to show the method right here. It's pretty much the same thing. We are going to change f of x to y. So I'm just going to rewrite that up here. The next thing that we're going to do is to replace every x with y and replace every y with x and solve for y. So pretty much the same thing. But then from here, we remember that this one has an invisible denominator of 1. So then we can go ahead and cross multiply. So again, this is method 2 right here. So we cross multiply these two. So our equation would come out. Okay, so then we want y by itself. So then we are going to divide both sides by x. Okay, now we want y by itself here, so we are going to subtract 1 from both sides. So we have isolated y by itself here, so then we can go ahead and move on to the third step, which is to replace y of the equation solved in step 2 with f negative 1 of x. So I can go ahead and rewrite this as so the answers for both methods are just the same. So both of them will have the same answer. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over the problem here. Again, the first step is to replace f of x with y. So then I can go ahead and rewrite this as y equals 7 over x minus 3 plus 2. So then we are ready to move on to the second step. The second step is to replace every x with y and replace every y with x and solve for y. So then I can go ahead and rewrite this as x is equal to 7 over y minus 3 plus 2. Part of this step is to isolate y by itself here. So then we can go ahead and subtract 2 from both sides, minus 2. So then we can go ahead and rewrite this as x minus 2 equals 7 over y minus 3, because this 2 gets crossed out. So then again, our target is to have y by itself here. So then I'm just gonna go ahead and rewrite it up here. From here, we can go ahead and use two methods. We can multiply both sides by y minus 3, or we can use the cross multiplication by putting over 1 to this. So I will show two methods here. So for the first method, I can go ahead and multiply both sides by y minus 3 and multiply this by y minus 3. So then we can go ahead and cross the y minus 3 out. We are left with y minus 3 times x minus 2 equals 7 is the leftover on this side. So then we want y by itself. So we can go ahead and divide both sides by x minus 2. Divide this by x minus 2. So we can cross this out. So we are left with y minus 3 equals 7 over x minus 2. We want y by itself, so we can add 3 to both sides, plus 3 and plus 3. So then we are left with y is equal to 7 over x minus 2 plus 3. We are ready to move on to the third step. Replace the y that we have solved from step 2 with f negative 1 of x. So then we can go ahead and rewrite it in inverse notation as f of negative 1 of x is equal to, that's 7 over x minus 2 plus 3. So this is the inverse of this function right here. Now we can use the second method as well. So I'm just going to show the second method up here. Remember, this one has an invisible denominator of 1. So then we can go ahead and cross multiply these two. So what I did was I cross multiply these two. I put them in here as a separate term. And then we have a 1 times 7. So I put that on the other side right here. So then we want y by itself. So we can divide both sides by. Okay, so then from here we can go ahead and add 3 to both sides. So plus 3 and plus 3. So then we are left with y is equal to 7 over x minus 2. This one gets crossed out. And then that's a plus 3. So then as you can see, both of these will come up with the same inverse right here. So we can move on to the last step, which is f negative 1 of x is equal to 7 over x minus 2 plus 3. And so this is the inverse of this function. As you can see, both methods, method 1 and method 2, will come up the same answer. Did you get the same answers as this? Good. Perfect. If you found this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya!